cross the country. You may never cross the country. Cross the country on that Migos. Yo, welcome to another episode of the Angry Educated Black Man. Here I go. Man, I got that Migos flow. Nah, let me chill, man. Here I fucking go. I'm lit though. I was at that Migos concert. Culture just came out, you know what I'm saying? I told you about the album. You seen my Instagram. I was at the concert. I got some footage for you. I also dyed my hair to celebrate a new year. I've been dying to do it. I like it. I'm liking the fire. But more importantly, I'm going to South Africa, man. South motherfucking Africa, Cape Town, baby. We're gonna have plenty of content, plenty of videos. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have an Angry Educated Black Woman t-shirt for you. I've got some special content cooked up for you. On this episode, we got plenty of shit for you to check out. We got the Super Bowl and my roast of the white women at the Women's March. Fuck nigga of the week, Trump trying to destroy our country, but I'm gonna obliterate this nigga with knowledge. Fuck his dapple, fuck the wall, fuck the band, and most importantly, the state of journalism. Fucking run it. So the Super Bowl is the New England Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, it's been a long time coming for the Falcons in New England. It's been here many times before. But I'm still kind of confused as to why New England's picked as the favorite. I mean, I know they've got experience, but I mean, overall, Atlanta just has a better team. I mean, they have a better defense. I would take Atlanta's defense over New England's defense. I feel like they're more explosive. I mean, shit, they score more fantasy points. But fantasy don't mean shit in the real game, though. I feel like overall, Atlanta just has more weapons with Julio Jones, Taylor Gabriel, the two running backs of Freeman and Coleman. They've just been doing it all season, and I feel like people are forgetting that they've been doing it all season. So all of a sudden, it's like, oh, New England's gonna be able to stop that, and Bill Belichick, and I mean, yeah, we said that before, but we saw what happened with Seattle. If they would have just ran the ball, I mean, they would have beat them. They had 3 downs to do it. I think the biggest question really is can Atlanta play the same way that they've been playing, and if they do, they should win. From the Patriots side, I mean, it's Tom Brady's 7th Super Bowl. I've always been a Tom Brady fan from day one. Nobody gave a fuck about this nigga until he, came up out the 6th round and was on the bench and finally took over that starting spot and never saw the bench again. So, hey, I respect that, what I'm saying, hustle to grind. Most people don't like him, so it is what it is. I give no fucks. What I find incredible is that there's any debate that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback ever. That guy was in the car talking about how John Elway was the greatest quarterback and he didn't know he was in the back seat. Like, bruh, have you never seen Tom Brady play in your life? The fuck are you talking about? It would be crazy to see Roger Goodell hand him that trophy after all the chasing down he did of him and trying to accuse them of cheating and whatnot. When you just win so much like that consistently for 15, 20 years, they just gotta make up shit. At the end of the day, they got rings, really big rings, and lots of them almost can fill up your whole goddamn hand. I think it's incredible of what New England's done without Gronk. Gronk's not even playing, and I mean, he's one of the most talented players on your team, and you've still managed to be able to go to the Super Bowl, so that's amazing in itself. People should be ashamed of themselves in the AFC side. Nope. Overall, I guess I'll say my prediction would be the Falcons take it 35-31. Matt Ryan goes on a last-minute drive to win the game. I got Atlanta, 35-31. Matt Ryan finally get a ring. Atlanta deserves it. It's been a while. I'm not here to dog them. I'm here to see them rise. I mean, both of these teams, I like them, so whoever wins, it's going to be a good game. A lot of points, you know what I'm saying? A lot of big names. All the things that you would need, so I'll definitely tune in. I'll definitely watch, and hopefully somebody can come out as a champion like me. You know what I'm saying? In my fantasy league, had to slide that in, but I still want my $300. Straight up. Usually I don't want to have to do this, but this time is a special occasion. We've got to discuss the state of journalism, and to do that, I've got to start on this basis. That's right, I had to go into the abyss and get the new Jim Crow. And I'm just gonna drop it, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't even think we understand what's really going on. First, let's start with the fact that Donald Trump was elected. Before he was elected, I was on a populist panel that discussed some of the sort of populist candidates that had been elected before, like Nixon.
So what we have are periodic bursts of populism. And what they do is they function primarily as early warning signs that a prevailing consensus is breaking down.
Who instituted policies that basically, like this book discusses, were essentially to implement a new caste system called the prison system, which breaks many rules and many laws. Broke the amendment and it's all unfucking constitutional. Now to start from that point, like I said, I'm gonna dip deep in some Migos culture. Cocoon type shit to break this down for you. When I was shooting the panel, the person who wrote about new populisms discussed how the populism candidate like Donald Trump's impact couldn't be felt until 15 years later, similar to what happened with Nixon. Despite me working the camera, I couldn't ask the question of, how quickly do you think things could happen?
Of course, in Europe and many countries, the populist opinion is now becoming populist powers.
What's going to happen is not clear, but both these parties, these major coalitions, are now in doubt and are in danger because of these populist upsurges on the left and the right.
Now, what happened with the new Jim Crow, and what it discusses is I've only read 1/3 of it because I got so angry I had to get off the subway, you know what I'm saying? It was just too emotional for me. But I'll get through it. These sort of alternative facts that they're creating. For example, when a black man is killed on camera, we have film, we have all this sort of evidence when we go to the judges, and all of a sudden he's still found not guilty because of the way the system is set up. This is a very similar formula of what they're trying to do with journalism. If you've noticed all the things that happen, we have a First Amendment right to be told the truth. We literally were at a press conference and CNN was told, no, I'm not going to answer your questions because I don't believe you're a credible news source by the President of the United States. Unfucking precedented.
Not you. Not you.
Can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are
is terrible.
attacking our news organization.
Your organization
Can you give
is
us a
terrible.
chance
Let's
to
go.
ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can
Quiet.
you state,
Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking a
categorically,
question.
Mr.
Don't be rude.
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you
No, I'm
give
not
us a
going to give you a
question?
question.
Can
I'm
you-
not going to give you a
can you
question.
can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
When he actually had the inauguration, a actual visual picture showing how many people were there, Obama's inauguration, how many people were there during his inauguration, and it was clearly showed that the numbers were different. And they literally tried to tell us that it was a lie and that there are alternative facts. And then that wasn't even alternative facts until you had Kelly Conway, actually, or Kellyanne, whatever the fuck her name is, it's not important. She actually stated alternative facts.
For the first time, and utter a falsehood. Why did he do that? It undermines the credibility of the entire White House press office
No,
on
it
day
doesn't.
one.
Don't be so overly dramatic about it, Chuck. You're saying it's a falsehood, and they're giving Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts to that. But the point remains.
Wait a minute. Alternative
that there's-
facts? Alternative facts, 4 of the 5 facts.
I don't think people are understanding that all this buildup, on top of the fact that journalism is in a state where magazines are down, newspapers are down, TV is down, everybody trying to figure out how to monetize the online industry, this whole digital bubble. Facebook is running everything and forcing people to have to go Facebook Live. People are scrambling. It's nice to have a job if you're in journalism. Real talk. It's good to have credible journalists who know what they're doing. We have to deal with fake news on top of that. The schema in which they are using and the agenda to create this sort of alternative facts, this discredibility of the journalists as a union, once again, is picking on a victim. The industry itself is going through a transformation. They're not stupid. They know that. They're discrediting it and not answering to it as the President of the United States shows that they want to tell and create a narrative based on what they're going to say, which in itself is very scary because when you have people signing executive orders to search 230 people about who they're texting and what's going on and giving journalists felony charges, and you're cutting off funding to where my sister doesn't know if she's going to have a job because she's opening up a center to help refugees, and government funding for other things where people are going to lose their jobs, they're going to lose their contracts. And so we have to think about the larger picture of how all these things are going to affect people, like even Obamacare. If they cut that, they don't even have another plan for it. That's going to cut 20 million people's health care. That's a whole nother issue. The thing I'm focusing on is, once again, is the state of journalism. It's a fucking formula. Let's wake the fuck up, see what the fucking formula is, and to my millennials, stop fucking covering them. Man from GQ had the perfect retort to it. Run some of it.
In a time when democracy is being rapidly sabotaged by a lunatic president and his amoral flying monkeys like Conway and Spicer, your market, and incidentally your obligation as citizens in that bleeding democracy, your market and your obligation are identical: to identify the lies and refute them twice as often as they are told.
Long story short, we've got to stop covering it. We've got to stop talking about it. I literally stopped watching the late night shows because before, when I was watching them, I was like, oh, Trump is a joke, whatever. Now I'm watching them and y'all are still covering this fuck. It's annoying the fuck out of me. I don't even watch this shit anymore. I'm going to travel, get educated, do what I can as the angry, educated black man so I can tell journalism in new ways. The most rewarding thing for me personally was when I had a friend say, oh, I saw one of your videos on Instagram. I watched it and I got some good information from you, but then I looked up a couple more stories to see what other people were saying about it. That is the new fucking form of journalism. We have to stop sitting here and writing these articles and telling people this is how it is, this is what you read, this is objective. No, it's bullshit. We're all subjective. We have a fucking opinion. If we're American and people are sitting up there speaking their opinions about what they're saying, how can they think that the journalist who's not writing the fucking article doesn't have an opinion? So let's just keep it 100. Let's just say what the fuck we have to say, get the best coverage that we can, which is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna cover the audience that's interested in what I have to say. That's what's important. That's what I can do, and that's how I can mobilize. From that standpoint, that's what I encourage my millennials to do, is to go out there and do your craft, do your art, and speak your voice. Maybe it's drawing a painting and inspiring people to be like, okay, this is what this means. This is how I was inspired. You know, I've sat on panels where people are talking about their art and how these represent different things and seeing people on different levels. And let's put it like this. We've got to be creative. We got to get like Steph Curry and that whole my nigga and just be shooting threes from distances they ain't never seen. You know what I'm saying? We the motherfucking millennials. We the new voice. We can say what the fuck we want to. I can say nigga. I can say fuck. I can say whatever I want to. But you know you're gonna get it 100 on here. So at the end of the day, that's what it is. And if you don't like it, that's too bad. You ain't gotta watch. And if you do, you may not agree with me sometimes. But at the end of the day, I'm giving you enough information to where you can go develop your own opinion. At least I'm covering. At least I'm saying something. Shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to do what I gotta do out here, man. But like I say, I'm gonna bring it down to this, man. Stop the fucking cycle. We gotta break the fucking cycle. We got a chance. We running this shit. It's like the 70s again. We all the hippies running around being happy and shit. And we the sons and daughters of baby boomers anyway. So what's the deal? You know, and in continuance of our fuck nigga of the week, Donald Trump, he also signed an executive order for the DAPL.
We'll see if we can get that pipeline built. A lot of jobs, 28,000 jobs. Great construction jobs.
Once again, it's a fundamental denier of climate change. And Trump also signed an order for EPA employees not to post on social media and for science organizations not to release any scientific studies. He's already denied climate change. And with this executive order, he's arguing that it's going to create 28,000 more jobs. And also the EPA is saying that, oh, well, it's only going to have a 1% impact on the overall fossil fuels. They're going to be affected in the U.S. And even Canada's government is endorsing the fact that they want the DAPL. And we can't foster the idea that we're going to continue to use fossil fuels and use this as a source of energy for everyone across the world. You know, regardless of whether it builds jobs. And at the end of the day, these jobs are just jobs that are going to be temporary. That are going to give money to these companies that are building it anyway. On top of the fact that at one point, Trump owned stock in one of the companies who was with the Dakota Access Pipeline. He said that he sold it in June, but there's no proof of paperwork. It's a fishy situation altogether. He could be selling to try to make more money for himself. I mean, and not only discussing the environmental impact and the continued fostering of using fossil fuels, as I discussed before, we also got to think about, hell, pipes leak all the fucking time. There was just a pipe leak in Iowa where they leaked, I don't know, it was 47,000 or something. They said it was 148 at first, but then they said 47,000. They leaked all those gallons of diesel fuel. And if they're going to leak all those gallons of diesel fuel, what can we expect from the Dakota Access Pipeline when it's even longer? And the safety measures that they have to use them can't even accurately determine where the leaks are. On top of the fact, they can't even determine where the major leaks are. And by building the pipeline, forfeit our responsibility in the Paris Climate Act. And worse than motherfucking all of those people who protested and the Native Americans who protested in North Dakota, who is going to impact the most, not only is it going to be built on their reserve and affect the water that they drink, we could have another Flint, Michigan situation. It's also going to affect 17 million Americans because it's going to be going upstream 10, 20 years down the road, and we could have another BP spill pipeline on our hands. As we saw before, we can't even accurately determine where the spills are, and a lot of the times when we build these things, they're not even environmentally, much less ecologically safe. But once again, we have a fucking idiot in office who's just going to put money in his pocket and doesn't give a fuck about the environment or anybody else's community. Talking about a Muslim ban. Just banned 7 countries from coming into the country for 90 days.
It's not a Muslim ban, but we were totally prepared. It's working out very nicely. You see it at the airports, you see it all over. It's working out very nicely, and we're going to have a very, very strict ban, and we're going to have extreme vetting, which we should have had in this country for many years.
This is like some shit from the Holocaust when, you know, the Jewish refugees wanted to come over and the U.S. denied some of them to come over. This is really one of those times of unprecedented oppression in all forms, and he's targeting all sorts of groups that he feels are vulnerable. And I think this is a time where we all rally together. For all my fathers who died and all my ancestors, I know my history. I know what the freedoms that I enjoy. I have a nice shelter home with heat. I can watch TV and do whatever the fuck I want to whenever I want to. My ancestors didn't have that same freedoms. The same ancestors who were in New Orleans, you know what I'm saying, down there with anvil and rock, singing hymns in Muslim intonation. You know what I'm saying? Like, they fought for that, and they gave me the luxuries and the freedoms that I have today. And for me to sit back and say, oh, that's okay, or not speak out about it, over here, I'm gonna keep it 100. When y'all ready to ride, call your boy. That's when it's time to get real. This is one of those examples where we see what he's gonna do, and we need to rally around, whether it's Muslims, gays, blacks, Latinos, whoever he's gonna target and who he's gonna pick off. We all need to rally around and not sit up here and be victimized, and understand that we have the power and take action on what we can at the times that are available. 7 predominantly Muslim countries from coming into the U.S., and that also meant dual visa and green card holders. Some of them were held at JFK. They had the protests at JFK and San Francisco, and you know, that's why some of the flights were delayed, because people were out there protesting the fact that these people couldn't come back into the country. I'm not exactly sure how many people were detained in JFK. I saw some stories where people were U.S. citizens for over 8 years and couldn't get back in the country, which is ludicrous. You know, they've been green card holders for many years. But thankfully, the ACLU took action, and one of their representatives went to Boston, got a judge to approve that it was unconstitutional.
All of these efforts to deport individuals who had lawfully come into this country, immigrants with green cards, individuals who had visas. And so this was a remarkable day. Executive orders are unconstitutional and illegal. The courts are there to defend everyone's rights. So we want to thank you very, very much.
And the Attorney General felt that it was all unconstitutional, which preceded the Sally memes because she was fired by Donald Trump, like it was another episode of his TV show. But this is actually real politics, and she's standing up for things that are unconstitutional and that aren't right by banning Muslims based on the countries that they're from, but you're deciding to stay with countries that you do business with, which is completely unfair. You have Trump towers in those countries in which you decided not to put the ban upon. Then I saw Sage Steele's ridiculous post where she was talking about, oh, my flight was delayed because people were protesting and this wasn't the time to protest. This is straight coonery. I would have gladly missed my flight if it was about people protesting for other people to be able to get into the country. That's what America's all about. That's what America was built upon. Everybody protesting. Shit, the first thing we did was fucking throw tea in the motherfucking ocean, man. That's what the fuck this shit is built upon. So how are you gonna be mad at people protesting what's right? Equal rights and civil rights. I was completely baffled by it. You know, later that day I saw a segment on where she was talking and I just completely turned. It was something about the Super Bowl and I went on about my life because I just can't watch that shit anymore. Just disturbing. It's like watching Rodney Harrison or Stephen A. Smith. I just can't do it anymore. Or the late night shows, as I discussed before, it's not happening. Then in retaliation to the Muslim ban, there was a mosque in Texas where 6 people were killed and somebody just set it aflame. And it was actually somebody who said they were a Trump supporter and they were anti-Muslim. And we're sitting up here talking about the terrorists that are across the country, but what about the terrorists that were homegrown with all this bullshit that we're brewing? Propaganda that you're spitting. When we don't need to overlook anything that's being done, but we need to understand in the scope of things where we need to focus our attention on and how we can get things done. And I'm gonna help synthesize that, but it's difficult. It's a motherfucking flurry of shit going on all at once. I mean, the executive actions that we've seen in the past freaking 6 days, you know, last night I'm seeing that the DAPL's approved and they're getting ready to do the pipeline now. Things are just happening so quickly that I'm just gonna try to update as much as possible. Let's see if I do live tweets or whatever it is. Iran has banned US citizens from going there. So people who are there, people who may be trying to come back, people who are trying to go, that's a wrap, it's done. This Muslim ban is just something that's, I hope they find that it's unconstitutional. It's against people's civil rights, it's against people's equal rights, and this is something that needs to be fixed. I don't know how it's gonna get done, but as an angry, educated black man, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to help. God damn it. What about this wall that he's talking about he's gonna build?
So this is border security, immigration enforcement, and improvements. Very important. We've been talking about this right from the beginning.
Okay, what the fuck is a wall gonna do? $14 billion of taxpayers' money? You can't even get along with the Mexican president and you expect us to just throw out our dollars? Man, I'm already pissed at the fucking taxes anyway. Now I gotta pay taxes for something I don't even like? You lied to everybody and said that, oh, it's gonna be Mexico who's gonna pay for it, and they're not. It's gonna be the taxpayers' dollars. Congress and Paul Ryan's old weasel bitch ass is the one who approved it, and so now we're just waiting on House approval, which makes it even more important that we gotta focus on motherfucking Congress elections in 2018 to make sure that we can get people in the House so that they can disapprove this motherfucking bill. Even though I don't know how long it's gonna take as quickly as they move, and we may not even have a fucking chance. And I mean, on top of wasting our money, my homie had the best motherfucking comment I've ever seen. Shit, I'm gonna build a wall around my motherfucking bank account and tell the IRS to come for that shit, goddammit. You know, we got baby boomers who aren't even gonna have money when they retire. And you want us to spend $14 billion more on some shit that's unimportant and irrelevant? We can't reform the school system, make satellites to give people better information, use the $14 billion to build better infrastructure so people have better jobs. I mean, there's so many other things we could do with this rather than build a wall. And what the fuck is the wall really gonna do? This is part of your immigration strategy if I'm just gonna stop everything by building a big wall and just signing big bills and all that goddamn shit. I mean, all people are gonna do is go underground like El Chapo did. El Chapo Jr., nigga. You know what I'm saying? Kill him, 2 Chainz.
Bring it to you. El Chapo Jr.
You know what I'm saying? Some Migos shit, gonna go hard on these niggas. I mean, what y'all gonna do if they climb over it? Y'all gonna shoot them down on the ground? Y'all just gonna shoot the immigrants down? You know what I'm saying? That's some harsh ass shit. And then on top of that, I mean, they still got the water. You know what I'm saying? How they not gonna swim around, go in Florida? You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's many ways around. I mean, what you gonna do? Big ass wall around the entire U.S. and tell nobody they gonna come in? You already building the Dakota Access Pipeline, so you tell Canada they good. But Mexico, y'all not good? What kind of shit is that, man? Fuck ass Donald Trump, man. Building this dumb ass wall and making me pay for it. Man, I slap the fuck out your bitch ass. And continuing on my fuck Trump assassination, what the fuck is this lie that is abortion? I'm sick of hearing all these things about abortion's not good. We don't need to give women a choice. Let me break this shit down. I'm gonna have to go into the darkness. You ever read this book in your life? Freakofuckonomics. Once again, I'm about to drop knowledge bombs on you fuck niggas. What the fuck are you talking about? Abortion is the reason that crime dropped in the 90s and the 2000s. Because of Roe versus Wade, more women were given the opportunity to be able to have abortions because before it was just a rich woman thing and only rich women could have abortions. But now you have more women either in poverty or didn't have the same financial resources to be able to get those abortions. Those 1.6 million women able to have those abortions prevented those children in neighborhoods that may eventually be unwanted or in a situation where they can't have those babies or they can't afford them or they don't have the resources. If you look at the numbers, the most liberal states like New York and California, where they did allow the most abortions, they have the highest percentage of dropping in crime. So Giuliani sitting up there running his mouth talking about stop and frisk is something that I did, and Trump running his fucking mouth talking about stop and frisk. No, motherfucker, stop telling that motherfucking lie. Freakonomics and women be able to make their own fucking decision is what dropped the crime. Not you motherfuckers doing nothing, sitting back, signing motherfucking bills about policies you don't even know shit about. You don't even know shit how to execute. When people even speak about it internationally, they're not even gonna get funding. They're targeting nations where there's poor countries of unborn children. They're trying to shape it as promoting the killing of unborn children in developed nations. No, it's preventing children from being born who are unwanted in nations based on the woman's decision, who it's their right to make a decision about that anyway, and why would you cut off funding for that? This is absolutely fucking crazy. Stepping into the unprecedented realm. Like, I have no fucking words for this. This is crazy. We're just not even gonna give women decisions. Man, I swear that shit has me so hot. The bearers of the children of our earth. And we're not even gonna give them the decision of whether or not they're gonna have children or not. How fucking stupid is that? Wake the fuck up. Once again, slap the shit out of people. This is another caste system that they're creating. It's a big ass cycle. Creating the wall. The prison systems. Discrediting journalism. Once they discredit journalism, nobody knows what the truth is. Then once they build the wall, if we get rid of abortions, there's gonna be more crime. With more crime, we're gonna have more prisoners, so we're gonna use the inmates to build more walls around us, and then we're not gonna allow any more people in here because of the Muslim ban, and then it's gonna be another caste system. We're gonna continue to make money that we did on the side because we got stocks and all this shit that they're doing anyway. So what the fuck? Wake the fuck up. We've seen that in these adverse situations, women of color have been able to make these wise decisions and been able to rise above circumstances. Not like that bullshit ass women's fucking march that we saw. And in the words of all my black women, I'm about to roast this shit alive. When the fuck was that? Y'all was handing out cops pink pussy hats. Y'all was walking together with police. I'm looking in these crowds and I'm seeing that it's mostly white women marching. Why in the fuck is it mostly white women marching? If we look at the basic statistics and the proportions who voted, we saw that it was 94% black women, 53% for Trump for white women, and 30% for Asian, and 30% Latino. So naturally in the crowd, what should we have seen? We should have seen an influx of black women. We should have seen an influx of Latino women. We should have seen an influx of Asian women and speckles of white women because half of y'all voted for Trump. Once again, this is like the poll numbers that we saw with Hillary where they're like, oh yeah, I'm voting for Hillary. I'm voting for Hillary. Fuck no, you're not voting for Hillary. You voted for Trump. And all y'all motherfuckers want to be sympathetic. And I'm seeing motherfuckers on TV crying, oh, I'm so sad about what's happening, what's going on in the country. Well, maybe if you would have organized around and within your community and talked to people and said, oh, this is not right, we shouldn't be voting for Trump, maybe we wouldn't be in this fucking situation. Maybe if you talk to some of your fucking girlfriends, or 53% of them, maybe that's why black women wouldn't be fucking trolling the fuck out of y'all of like, why in the fuck are y'all out here marching with these dumbass hats? You know what I'm saying? As Angela Peoples put it, we've got the sign. 53% of y'all hoes voted for motherfucking Trump. It's just like that girl who was talking about discrimination in Michaels. Like a bunch of y'all hoes just marching the fuck around. What the fuck? Go sit your bitch ass down. Go sit your ass at home. Go talk to Johnny. Go talk to Bill. Go talk to Frank and all your motherfucking friends and tell them stop voting for fucking Trump. And they need to stop all this white supremacy and conservatism. Why in the fuck are y'all around there marching talking about y'all doing something? Madonna on there. Oh, I got my little nigga. What bitch, what you, nigga, what the fuck? Fuck come out your mouth. Fuck wrong with you, Madonna. Get this bitch off stage. Fuck wrong with y'all. All these white hosts. Y'all need to have black faces, Latino faces, Moorish looking faces in the head of y'all's fucking movements if y'all want to talk about feminism. Because this white feminism is a bunch of bullshit. This ain't helping nobody. Y'all don't give a fuck. Essentially, white feminism is benefited by y'all voting for Trump anyway on the low. So why in the fuck would we think that this isn't another ploy anyway? So that's why we need to have people of color and women of color in these places. That's the message from black women about that bullshit ass march and that waste of fucking time.